everyone. I'm Sarah Gardner from Pendleton, Oregon, and I am out in the field today with my trusty technician, Bert the dog. And I wanted to talk to you about broad strokes entomology, or the study of insects, and then touch on some of the research projects that I've taken on in the last couple of years, and discuss, how to use entomology in future career options. So, a little bit of my background is that I got into entomology at the age of 4 when a beautiful butterfly landed on me when I was playing out in the backyard. I decided to go to my local library, check out the insect identification guides, and go into my backyard and try and figure out what was out there. When I was 12 years old, I actually went a little further and I decided to volunteer for an entomological collection at the Museum of Natural History in Salt Lake City, Utah. So that just gave me a little bit more expertise for, what I wanted to do with entomology, give me some more options, and also give me a skill set that I would then be able to use further down the line. So I graduated with my master's degree in 2012 with an emphasis in pollination ecology, and my interests were looking at native bees and the effect that humans have on them. Today I wanted to talk to you about a project that I'm working on with the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, looking at pollinator networks on their first food plants. First foods are culturally significant plants. These are plants that are used in different rituals and feast settings, and they were concerned that maybe pollinators weren't available at the density that they needed to be to adequately pollinate these plants and have reproduction occur at a good rate every year. So they hired me to look at the plant pollinator network. So what if these plants require pollinators to actually reproduce? That was the first question. And then secondly, if determined that pollinators are required, what are they? So, collecting these insects, taking them home, and actually doing identifications to figure out what they are. So today I'm in a beautiful huckleberry field. This is Big Huckleberry, Vaccinium membranaceum. And this is an interesting plant because the flowers are kind of a weird shape. They're a little bit more difficult for insects to access, and I can show you one right now. So you can see a Vaccinium flower right here, and it's just a little bell, and it has this tiny hole in the bottom, and that's what access pollinators have to get to the pollen and nectar inside this flower. So not every pollinator is actually going to be interested in accessing this flower because it's just a little bit too difficult. Given those limitations on different insects that would actually access these flowers, what is the community that you can find on these plants? So to collect insects, you would use, there's a couple of different methods, but to collect directly from flowers, you would use an aerial or a hand net. Once you see a pollinator accessing the pollen and nectar in a flower, so we call that foraging, you would sweep the net. This motion of the net collects using force, collects the insect at the bottom of your net. You then euthanize it using ethanol, which is a type of alcohol, and you put it in a collecting vial so that you can bring it home and do further curation on it. So curation is actually creating a museum quality specimen that you can identify using a stereo microscope later on. So that'll then give you the possibility of identifying the entire pollinator network important, or the pollinator guild important to these plants. And I was asked this year to collect off of common Camas as well, which is it's a blue inflorescence. It's a really cool spiky plant, and same questions, whether or not pollinators were important, and if determined important, which species are found on these plants. So, you know, you can use entomology in a lot of different settings. I chose native bee research, but you can use insects to look at, say, what happened at a crime scene. So determining, you know, exactly how long a crime scene has been there based on what insects are found at the site. Or you could do something like pest mitigation for economically significant pests such as mosquitoes and stuff like that. So trying to get rid of these insects in a meaningful way to help out communities worldwide. So if you do have questions, my consulting business is called Beecology Consulting, and you can email me anytime. And I strongly recommend going out to your local library, you know, starting with those very basic identification keys and going in your backyard, seeing what you have, and moving on from there. It was really great to talk to you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time finding bugs.